Hello again from Yarra Ranges Life TV and our Eco Life segment. Here we are looking at the magnificent Banksia spinulosa. We're very fortunate in the Yarra Ranges to have two main types of Banksias. This is one of them. This is probably the larger Banksia, Banksia spinulosa, and you'll find that commonly through your Hillsvilles and your King Lakes and up at Yarra Glen and the higher areas, and also in the foothills of the Dandenongs themselves. And the magnificent feature of these plants, of course, is they have such a huge flower. They have such a large flower, which of course is just loved by insects, butterflies and nectar feeding birds, New Holland honeyeater, but also of course it's a plant that produces copious amounts of seed, and that seed only opens up when there's been fire. And so the seed pods are very, very important in protecting this plant when there is a bushfire, and after the bushfire has passed, the seeds open up, the seed pods open up, and the seed is expelled onto the ground, and that is then germinates into new plants. So this plant is one of those Australian plants that are very accustomed and are happy to live with bushfire as part of their life cycle. A delightful plant for your garden. It's a beautiful dense plant, so it's a good screen plant. If you've got a dusty road, it's a good screen plant if you want a visual screen, but it's a plant that's not too big for your garden, and it will tolerate a range of conditions. Probably the only condition it won't like is probably you can't plant this in very deep, wet, moist soils. It really likes a well-drained soil, but a wonderful habitat plant for your backyard, and something that is commonly available from the indigenous nurseries of the Yarra Ranges. Yes, it's Yarra Ranges Life TV and our Eco Life segment, and we've been looking at Banksias of the Yarra Ranges. Here we're looking at the magnificent Banksia marginata, or common name silver Banksia. You might ask, how do these plants become to be called Banksia? Many of our plants in Australia were first described in the written language by the first Europeans that came here. Aboriginal people had their own names for these plants, and we're slowly discovering and rapidly discovering more of the Aboriginal names. Today we commonly use this term Banksia, silver Banksia, for this plant, and the originator of the term Banksia, of course, was Sir Joseph Banks. And Sir Joseph Banks came out with Captain Cook in the 1770s to Australia, and was the first person to formally sign in a scientific manner that we have of describing plants, described a number of Banksias in Australia, many of the coastal Banksias, but this is a Banksia that occurs freely throughout the Shire, as I was saying before, and it's a Banksia again that provides a magnificent habitat plant. Nectar, pollen, dense branchlets which provide lovely nesting spaces. It provides seeds for sulphur-crested cockatoos, yellowtail black cockatoos. It also provides a home for lots of insects, which again provide for your insect feeding birds. So again, along with the other main Banksia of the Yarra Ranges, Banksia spinulosa, Banksia marginata is another wonderful plant which we strongly recommend will be useful in your garden in providing essential wildlife habitat. Have a think about that. It's a plant that should be available from your local indigenous plant nursery, something that's easy to grow, and particularly a plant that likes to grow in full or partial sun. Thanks for tuning in today to the Yarra Ranges Life television, to our Eco Life segment. Look forward to speaking to you again.